Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 267 for March 7th, 2018. My name is Russell Frost. I have the pleasure to be your host on this evening's journey into exciting... I just ran out of gas.
I no idea how
ran out of gas, which on this show is sort of an odd metaphor to
Yeah, you should say you ran out of electrons.
Yeah, I ran out. My batteries went dry. Which again, an odd metaphor because batteries don't go dry anymore. Hey, it's me. It's Russell. You're here. We do this cool show about advanced tech cars and sustainable energy. Thank you for joining us. Let me introduce the two people with me so I can get out of this kind of feedback loop that I'm in. Luckily for me, I have my wingman, my man in Chicago, and ignore the Blackhawks jersey hiding behind him. What? Mr. Tony Schaefer.
But it's green because it's March and it's St. Patrick's Day. Whatever.
And it's another opportunity for
wait. That's not. Oh, it is green, isn't it?
It
looks
is
like it's black.
It is green, and there's even a little
shamrock thing.
A little shamrock, right? Kind of there.
I saw the shamrock thing, but it looks black.
Yeah. So hey everybody. So tonight I have a Innocent Gun original aged beer, which I've never had before, but someone at the craft brew store said that it was really, really good. And something that I thought was really funny right now as the show was starting, JT in the chat room said, "Got here before anyone else did." And I jumped in and said, "What do you win?" Eric Stevens jumped in and said, "A cookie." And Yan came in and said, "Your respected admiration." It is just so funny how people are joining in and answering the previous person's question. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Talk about feedback loops.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. Well, and the man next to him is our good friend, longtime panelist, the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids. It's boulderhc.com in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, y'all there, and good to be back. And my beer sponsor this week is, I don't know if I had this before.
Crazy Mountain
Man, something like that.
Nice.
I don't know.
That? Looks like an angry owl.
Yeah, it's like some crazy angry mountain owl.
Some kind of bad raptor.
Amber ale, multi-hoppy smooth. I guess we'll give it a try.
Gotcha.
Never had it.
Big shout out this week from me to my friends at Drive Shop, Shauna and Jared, and Casey, who was kind enough to bring me a Mitsubishi Outlander today. So,
nice.
Hey guys.
Nice.
Have you actually seen it? It's real?
No, well, there's a story that we're not going to tell, but this is the Outlander Sport.
Oh, it's not the plug-in hybrid.
It's the Outlander Sport, and we are looking forward to a chance to drive and review the Outlander PHEV, but that will be sometime in the near future. We're working that out right now.
Yeah.
And are they going to let you review it, even if you're honest about the Outlander Sport?
You, sir, are not allowed to ask that question during the show. I think anybody who's seen my reviews knows they're all painfully honest.
Yes.
Like right now, Kia and I aren't seeing eye to eye, even though one of the most popular reviews I've done was a positive, but with a couple of negatives, review on the Kia Optima hybrid.
Honest review.
Unlike honest review.
Other automotive journalists.
It's like, it's not perfect, but it's cool. And but the Kia people just, which is fine. You know what? If they're interested, I'm glad. I am more than happy to have that conversation. I did have somebody that posted, like, I don't remember what the comment was, but it was weird. It was like, "Oh, you're obviously getting it." Oh, it was on another car. It was like, "You're obviously getting money from these people." I'm like, God, I wish I was getting money from someone.
He obviously never watched the review.
Right. You've never seen our show if you think we're getting money from people, because here it is, kids. We whittle all this at home ourselves. Okay. Well, let's start off the evening with one of my very favorite topics. And this was a story that we talked about. Tony, maybe you were last week before. But there was word that Harley was going to actually produce an electric motorcycle. Now, they did the live wire thing a couple of years ago, and that was fun, and that was cute, and it was a good summer, like driving the electric motorcycle around so people could see, sort of like a circus freak sideshow thing, which when you think about it, there's nothing more carnival sideshow than an electric Harley. I was waiting. There's no laugh there? Nothing?
No, sorry, I was typing in chat.
Oh, cool. Hey, anyway.
Yeah.
So turns out that the electric Harley story takes an interesting twist because, of course, I expressed a lot of just like, I don't know how Harley's going to do this and why would they do this? Because they're not a company whose customer base wants this. If anything, the Victory motorcycle experiment with Bramo proved that. But turns out Harley bought a little electric motorcycle company called Alta Motors. Alta Motors makes small electric dirt bikes, off-road bikes, and they're enduro. They do have some street legal versions, but it's primarily an enduro off-road kind of thing. So the good side of that is Harley said they're going to do this, and then they bought a company that actually does what they want to do but don't do yet. So maybe they're serious.
Yeah, maybe the thought is if they've what is it? They do the cross bike with dirt racing thing. If they motocross, yeah, I mean, if they can make electric motorcycles and they can run motocross on it, then certainly, that's about as much beta testing as you need to do to make sure your stuff is solid.
I mean, in a sense,
yeah.
Zero started that way. Started making dirt bikes. That was and they still do. And there's another company whose name escapes me right now that only made dirt bikes, and I don't think they're still around. But here's the thing. It's one thing and here's where I get skeptical. I'm sorry, Tony. It's one thing to make an electric bike for the street. But it's a whole other thing to make an electric motorcycle that is for motocross races. And the difference is the range. You can consume the electric battery much faster because you're not talking about a bike that's going 50 or 60 miles. You're talking about a bike that has to be fast and torquey and responsive for 10. And that's it.
True.
So electrifying a Harley with that technology is a pretty big leap. It's kind of like hiring Boy Scout Pinewood Derby winners to design new Cadillacs. It's not entirely crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing against the Boy Scouts. Please keep your email.
I hear Faraday is hiring.
Faraday Future. So, Paul, come on. I see you holding something back.
No, I agree. I mean, a motocross bike is a limited use. I mean, you don't need a ton of energy on board to do the race, and it is going to perform better than a gas car because of the torquiness and acceleration. I mean, as long as the machine doesn't weigh too much, and it shouldn't have to because of the batteries.
So what kind of range do you think would convince someone to buy an electric Harley?
It'd probably have to be a couple hundred miles, I would think.
I would think at least a couple hundred miles.
Yeah.
Because people want to go on their Sunday ride through the mountains and, not have to fuel up.
Right. Not have to have that range anxiety.
Yeah. And they did say in a release that they consider their 10-year strategy. So, according to their own goals, I guess, they have the time to try and, do it right.
I hope they do.
Yeah, I do too.
I really wish it wouldn't take them a decade to do it, to be honest with you. But
I hope they don't come out with a Harley motocross that's just a rebadged, Alta. But
right. Well, and again, the scary thing for me is just what's going to happen when this bike actually drops into dealerships. Are dealerships even going to want it? You know what I mean? Or will it just be a symbol of derision for Harley? Like, oh, those damn electric motorcycles, because these are the people that all have loud pipes save lives stickers on the back of their, cutlasses. Maybe I'll try cutlasses. I'm sorry.
And you're right. It's, as we spoke in a previous podcast that, Harley Davidson is even almost less about the motorcycle, more about the lifestyle.
Right.
It's about the leather jacket. It's about the T-shirts. It's about the Sunday drives. That Paul had mentioned. It's about making a lot of noise. It's about getting on your hog and whatever. Yeah, I could see an electric version as being very divisive.
It's certainly going to be revolutionary. The question is,
on the other hand, if they make a kick-ass bike that handles well and has good acceleration, maybe people will ride it and go, oh, that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And they could put a noise generator on it too. So, artificial loud exhaust.
Big PA speakers in the front.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about that.
No, there's just pipe it into their own helmet so that they think they're making all that noise.
But didn't Harley lay off a bunch of people? Like their gas bikes aren't selling as well as they used to.
Harley's customer base is dying.
Yeah,
kind of like Fox Network. You know what I mean? Like,
and you don't mean it's going down. You mean they are literally dying.
Yeah, they're physically
to
aging
ride a
out.
motorcycle.
Yeah. I mean, and the name, as good a job as Harley has done selling the Harley lifestyle and the Harley brand, the younger generations who are eschewing cars, let's be realistic, aren't all that excited about jumping on a $15,000 loud motorcycle. You know what I mean? It's not their thing.
And there's no like Uber motorcycle service to catch a ride on.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Oh, Eric in the chat room brought up a good point. That what if Harley bought out Alta and they keep the Alta brand, so it becomes their electric Harley brand?
Well,
that could
sure,
happen.
why not, right? I mean, of course, you lose the cachet of the Harley name, which might be interesting for some electric motorcycle buyers, but not necessarily Harley owners. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the Venn diagram here is Harley owners, electric motorcycle owners who are interested in maybe having something with a classic American name on it.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, the Victory thing with Bramo, I think was a wake-up call because the dealers didn't like it. And apparently the Victory motorcycle customers didn't like it, and the dealers didn't support it. I went into numerous Victory dealerships, and they're like, "We're not going to carry them. There's no reason to."
Yeah,
it's a cool product. You've never driven it or anything or ridden it, and they're like, "Nah, who cares?" Okay. Hey, I mean, we see that in Chevy dealerships. That's not.
We see that in all dealerships. Yeah, I mean, not even necessarily calling out one over another. We see that in all dealerships. You walk in and you ask about, an alt-fuel car, and they either point you to that one guy. Yeah, they either tell you don't want it, or they point you to that one guy and say, "Oh yeah, he's our hybrid."
He's the hybrid guy, right? The guy with the bad suit.
He only works on Tuesdays,
right? Well, speaking of the one guy, Tony has a story about someone branching out into our world
that you would never expect. And that's what I want to talk about, because it's a bit of a joke. It really is what it comes down to. I probably should have. So here, let me put this picture.
Is that the picture that you want?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Bentley now has their plug-in hybrid Bentayga luxury car that looks like it weighs about what would you say? That's about 3 tons of a car right there.
Oh, that's at least 12 million pounds.
Oh my God! That car just looks heavy, just sitting there. Now there's all this talk about it.
It has Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, a 3.0 liter V6 engine and electric motor. The V8 version costs $230,000, so if you're into that. So there's no pricing listed on the plug-in hybrid version.
If you have to ask.
I know, but people say, well, there's the hybrid markup. So if the if the regular one's $230,000, then this one might come in at $235,000.
The Philippe Stark plug-in dock cracks me up. I'm sorry, because it's fugly.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is the inside here, and like Paul said, you can see the Apple CarPlay right there. The Apple
and the
plugged in.
left tail light makes a B when you step on the brakes,
No.
but the right one doesn't.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, scroll down.
Yeah. Wait, yeah.
Oh, it does.
So
oh
it
my
makes
God.
B, yeah.
Signature flying bees. I just, yeah.
So that's why I mean, really, this is about all that it warrants. Just a holy shit, what the hell are you doing? Why bother? 31 miles.
Maybe there's
by the
some
way.
rapper who wants to be, hybrid cred. And
Yeah. Although I will say, at 31 miles of range, it does get, listed more range than the Prius Prime.
And I'm sure it's an excellent value.
Yes,
relative to
yes, you can only buy like
100,000.
8 Prius Primes for the price of
Yes.
this.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys can see this, there's above the center, there's these 2 buttons, I guess, that stick out. Dude, I don't know what they are, and no one would ever trust me with their Bentley, so I'll never know what they are.
With the one on the left dumps oil out the back. And the one on the
right. Purges the oil.
Yeah.
The one on the right ejects the passenger seat. I'm thinking.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I think that's in the gear shifter, though.
Oh, you think?
I don't know. Maybe I've seen too many Bond movies. I forget.
So it's a neat touch that the dials here actually show you the temperature. You can actually read that. So 22.5 degrees centigrade there.
I haven't seen that on every other car I've ever driven.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Aaron. Maybe it's too late, but are those wheels ugly or is it me?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah. Those wheels.
Wait, up here?
Yeah.
Nothing special. They're kind of like any other SUV wheels.
Yeah, they don't. There's nothing.
They don't say Bentley.
Yeah, there's nothing that screams like this is a really nice car. They're just like, oh, wheels. Okay.
From the side, it looks like a Lexus or a, Kia.
Everybody at Lexus just went, ouch, dude, how can you say that?
Yeah.
No, but it has that crown, that Japanese crown look,
Yeah.
Which is like, the Toyota limousine.
So again, this is just on the, absurd. You've seen it, maybe you heard it here first. Bentley.
Now, who owns Bentley these days? Isn't it Audi VW owns them? Anybody know?
I'm Googling it because I don't know.
Because if so, that could mean that it's the same powertrain in an Audi plug-in hybrid or...
Eric says it's an overpriced Audi Q7.
It's Volkswagen, yeah.
Okay,
Volkswagen.
So maybe that's the same powertrain that is used elsewhere, and we'll see elsewhere.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe at a more affordable $150,000.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So there it is. That's it. That's the stupidity. Nothing earth-shattering. Just Bentley has a hybrid.
Bentley has a hybrid.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, with Volkswagen electrifying all their cars.
So far, Volkswagen has only electrified their concepts. They do really good concepts.
Speaking of conceptual things,
wow,
how's that for a segue, huh?
Yeah,
Toyota announced that they have created a next generation hybrid system for their hybrid vehicles, of which they're very popular. Arguably, the most popular hybrid vehicle system on the planet is Toyota's Hybrid Synergy Drive. And this is the newest iteration of it, with some changes. The next generation will have a 2-liter, which is a little bit larger engine than the 1.8-liter Atkinson cycle. It's an inline 4, so they're going up a little bit. Probably makes sense. Obviously, it does. Toyota doesn't do these things by accident. Still using, they're talking about using a larger number of nickel metal hydride batteries, which
I thought we were done with those.
We're not. Toyota's just not done with them, and that's okay. Whatever, it works. But
it's proven, and it's cheap, and longevity.
And they've proven that battery pack is damn reliable.
Oh
Okay?
my God, yes.
There are so many examples of taxis and stuff like there with 300,000 miles on them. And yes, some people had problems, but
a statistical
it's a statistical certainty that when you have a few million hybrid cars out there, somebody's going to have a problem with it, but much lower problem rate than automatic transmissions or manual brakes or things like that. So I don't really know what to say about this other than cool. It's exciting. And there's a little video which we can show. And Paul, I'm gonna kind of just go, Paul, do you have any insight here on this?
I mean, I haven't, obviously it's not that real yet.
Right.
But Toyota is making, incremental steps on every generation of their hybrid system. So I think it should be a good thing. I guess we'll see when it actually appears. One of the things in the article they talk about is the thermal efficiency of even their non-hybrid engines are getting close to 40%, which is huge for a traditional combustion engine. Yeah. And what that means is, 40% of the fuel you put into it actually gets sent to the wheels as opposed to thrown off as heat, which is what most internal combustion engines do.
Right.
So,
right.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but 40% is really high for a gas car.
Thank you for that, because I would have never figured that out, Paul. Yeah. But you know this stuff.
And I think it's neat. A couple of the images that Toyota put in the article here. One of them talks about, it draws the line on CO2 emissions and the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour seconds. And it shows where they are targeting, and then compared to all the other, well, not all the other, but a couple of other companies, and showing how they're moving more toward the lower CO2 and even faster 0 to 100. And then, and then the other one that they, I put this one up, which I thought was their vision of their future. So, here we are at 2010 with just a sliver of cars with the PHV, FCVs, and EVs. And then you can see them ramping up here. 2020, 2030, the ratio of electrified vehicles is more than 50%. More than 10% are going to be battery electric or fuel cell. We'll ignore that. And then you come over to 2050 and almost 100% are going to be alternative fuel, almost none of them with conventional engines. So that's Toyota's vision of the future right there. And then down here in the lower right, we have this weird squibble that I don't know what that means.
It means you're a jerk for pointing it out.
It means you don't read Japanese. Yep. So I found that interesting. They pretty much just laid it out and said, okay, here's what we're doing for the next 40 years. Here's our vision.
Did anybody see there was an article, sorry to go off track here, but there was an article this week about the Prius. In general, the sales aren't that great, but 1 in 5 of the Priuses was a Prius Prime in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Which was huge. I mean, that's...
Wow. Well, and they did that on purpose. I say that, and not that like I was in the boardroom, but when you price the Prius Prime at the same or even a little less than the top, the top right. Prius liftback, what is it, 4 advanced tech package? If you're going to buy the Prius 4 advanced tech package, you could save a few bucks by buying the Prime. So they
especially if you live where there's tax credits and whatnot.
If you live in Colorado, yeah. So they had to have known they were going to be cannibalizing some of the Prius, and I'm sure they're fine with that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it.
And I think it's the right direction for them to go. It's the direction that a lot of Prius owners have been begging them to go. Give us a decent plug-in, give us an EV, and look, they gave them an EV, and it's selling. People are buying it. Yeah, or sorry, a plug-in, not an EV. So, I mean, the whole we're waiting until there's a demand. There's a demand. Make them, because if 20% of your sales are your plug-in, obviously somebody wants it,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or it's a strong rejection of the 4th generation styling, which is bullshit, but that's okay. speaking of styling, Paul has a story about a very stylish car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so here's another, let's say, mini car maker, but a very small manufacturer building a supercar. I think we might have mentioned this company before, but they're called Rimac or Rimac, out of Croatia, and they have a Tesla killer, which goes 0 to 60 in 1.85 seconds, which is pretty cool, with 1,914 horsepower, 258 mile per hour top speed, and a range of 403 miles. Although I don't think you would get 403 miles at 258 miles per hour.
Probably not.
You know, it's kind of cool, but it's a very small company. Who knows if they have any money to actually bring this to market? And it's kind of funny reading the story. They talk about their network of charging stations. So how many charging stations does Rimac have? Like 1.5, maybe? I don't know.
I can't even imagine. At every Rimac dealer.
Yes. And, you know, it's in Croatia where the factory is. Anyway, it's kind of cool that more people are trying to come up with a Tesla car, but we all saw what happened to Faraday Future and so on and so forth. But, you know, I guess if you're silly enough to buy a car from a very small company for a ton of money that when it breaks, you won't be able to get it serviced, go for it.
Well, I mean, Ferrari?
You know, when your Bentley's in the shop, you can drive this.
Yeah, I mean, where do you take your Bentley? You know what I mean? Like, Rimac's been around for a while. This is the vehicle that, and they don't want to be known for it, so here I am helping them. This is the vehicle that Richard Hammond crashed in.
Oh, that's right.
On the Nürburgring, and
that's right. Their concept car.
Messed himself up. Yeah, not Rimac's fault, Hammond's fault, but whatever. I mean, I do think it's interesting that somebody is stealing some of Tesla's flash, as it were.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because Tesla thing is the Roadster is 1.9 seconds. Oop, wait, 1.85.
Yeah.
The Roadster goes 250 miles an hour. Oh, wait, 258. Now,
the Rimac car looks cool. I mean,
yeah.
Gorgeous. The only thing that really I have to say strikes me as odd is that this is coming out of Croatia.
Yeah.
That I'm like, what?
Must be some tax credits there or something. And it says the price will be in the 7 figures, and they'll only build 150 of them.
So you better get on that waiting list now.
I'm going to go to the website and sign up tonight.
How much of a cash back do you think Colorado would give for something like this?
Same as the Nissan Leaf, $5,000.
$5,000. There you go, sir.
Makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, that's almost affordable now.
Pays for the floor mats. Yeah. I mean, it's an amazing looking car.
7,000 lithium batteries.
Yeah.
It can deliver 1.4 megawatts at 720 volts.
That's crazy. Well, speaking of Tesla competitors, if you are a close follower of this show, which we hope you are, because you've gone to youtube.com/whatdrivesus and you've hit subscribe, please. And if you have, thank you. You may have seen our show last week on the Jaguar I-Pace, or if you prefer, Jaguar I-Pace. This is their new compact SUV, fully electric, built by robots in Austria, already in production, already being pumped out to dealers. And we found out some more details about it. One of the things that we were all wondering is, how much does this bad boy cost? Because at one point they said you could have almost 2 of these for the cost of a Tesla Model X. Well, turns out the Jaguar I-Pace starts at $70,000. So
1.5.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I get it. It's cheaper than the Model X to start with. It's also smaller than the Model X. So, again, I don't think you buy either one because it's got a, you know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe you do buy do you buy a Model X for the third row?
Maybe.
I guess maybe, yeah. But if we had Evan here,
yeah.
But we ran through. You know, there was a race, a drag race between the Jaguar I-Pace and between the Model X, and of course, because it's a Jaguar event, the Jaguar won, and it was a accelerating to 60 and then stopping, and the Jaguar won. I don't know that means the Jag is faster.
Has better brakes, maybe.
Has better brakes, but like I said, we did get some more details, which Jag wasn't super big on giving details last week. The battery, it's a 90 kilowatt hour battery, 394 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, top speed of 124 miles an hour. This is the weight. It doesn't say exactly which weight this is, but 4,784 pounds, EV range of 240 miles, base price of $69,500. No matter how you cut it, without taking any polish off the Tesla shine, it's cool that we have a competitor.
Yeah, a viable competitor. And in Colorado, you get a $5,000 grid, so that brings it down to $64,000. And yeah.
Well, and at least Jaguar is a real company. It's not, a startup out of Croatia.
Well, I don't even know that. I mean, because I've seen Rimac around for a while, so I don't even know. But
but they sell what, 20 cars a year or something.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, at the price they sell, they don't need to sell more.
Yeah. But I get it. They're not so much a startup.
They don't have an established dealer network.
They're owned by a very large company. They are well financed, obviously, and they are good at well. Wow. Do I say, if I say Jaguar is good at manufacturing, that ignores some really horrible parts of their history.
Right.
To be fair, right? I mean, I can't bang on Tesla for manufacturing issues when, wow, there were whole decades when you just didn't want to own a Jag.
I did like their little dig when they did the reveal last week. They showed the Jaguar factory and they said, here we are. This is production heaven.
Right.
Nice.
There was a lot of digs at Tesla, and why not?
At some point, you just have to say, okay, good for you. Okay, all right, have fun with it.
I mean, Jag, whatever their history is, checkered or otherwise, they have a huge name. It's a name that has
cachet. Well, they've been known for styling, not necessarily reliability.
Fair enough. Yeah. Maybe this will be their most reliable vehicle ever.
And
you don't need to synchronize the carburetors on an electric car.
Yeah.
And then I have, let's see, what do we have?
We know that, we keep hearing about emerging markets, right? And we know, for example, Tesla is talking about possibly putting a gigafactory in China because China is one of the huge electric vehicle emerging markets. And we know, of course, another huge emerging market that happens to be the parent company of Jaguar. And it just so happens here that Tata Motors has come out with, their concept of an electric vehicle. And I'm doing this while I'm doing this so we can all see. So, yeah, you're cutting out. So Tata Motors is, as we know, the parent company of Jaguar, and India has a growing middle class and a growing upper class that can afford these better electric vehicles. So I think that this is part and parcel. Jaguar coming out with one and Tata coming out with one, being listed at the same time.
Paul, I'm sorry. Did you have some stuff? No. Did we? Oh, Paul's frozen.
Okay. Yeah.
Tata, can we go back a minute for just a second?
Yeah, I'm still presenting to everyone. Yeah.
Are you? Well, you're not going to be anymore, mister.
Yes.
Because I want to show some video.
All right.
Speaking of Tata and Jaguar and the whole 9 yards, this was the video that they showed at the debut, I guess, for like, God, all of a sudden I can't talk. Hi, there's a presenter. She's talking about the Jag I-Pace. And you know, the one dig I didn't get at this car is nice. Did you see the plate? Other EV.
Subtle.
Is I-Pace has got to be maybe the worst name ever. So here's the race, and they found 2 race car drivers.
Tony Kanaan.
And yeah, there we go. Oh, look, the handles pop out just like a Tesla.
No, I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Who would have thought? She's going to get run over if she doesn't get out of the way. Oh, look, it's getting personal.
I still don't understand why you put a like a flat front on a car.
Because coefficient of drag is not your concern.
Apparently.
So there we go. Ahead at 60 miles an hour, it beat and then brake. But the Tesla doesn't brake as well either. Again, smaller, lighter car. Maybe not the big, huge point proving thing that they thought it was. I'm sorry, Tony. Let's get back here. So back to Tata. And yeah, Tata's huge, has this potentially enormous home market.
Oh, yeah.
And they've done a lot of weird things with EVs, little personal EVs and stuff that we don't see over here, that they've tried to do in India. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, that's not a bad looking car.
No, it's really not. And, you know, that's one of the things here in North America. Most people either they haven't heard of Tata or they don't understand the scale of size of Tata, the company. I mean, they own like everything.
Yeah.
When you go to India to visit the Tata headquarters, for example, you might stay in a hotel. That hotel is owned by Tata, and the shampoos and the sheets and the everything could be manufactured by Tata, and they come and pick you up in a car that was manufactured by Tata. I mean, Tata's huge, and they built the Nano, and a lot of people have electrified their Nanos, and I think Tata even came out with an electric Nano. Yeah, I just think, you know, Tata throwing their weight behind electric vehicles in India is a really, really big thing for the Indian market. And maybe we'll start seeing them over here, but possibly under the Jaguar moniker, or maybe it'll be Tata itself. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, certainly the Jag name carries, you know, a little more weight, a little more heft than Tata does. But again, they have a huge market there. You know, if you're a Chinese or an Indian car maker, sure, you want to sell cars in America, but you have 2 huge markets right there. You know, it's not like you're a Croatian car maker and there's just not that many people who are going to buy your product.
And China and India are passing more and more stricter and stricter regulations on their vehicles because they've bought in on diesel so much for so long.
Oh, yeah.
They've got to do something to clean up their air, and forcing electrified vehicles is one huge step that they're both taking.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the next step for them. And, you know, certainly China's looking at that and taking that very, very seriously.
Yeah.
Paul, are you back with us?
I think I have a crappy internet connection. How do I sound now?
Yeah, you sound fine now, but you're, it's those people at Green Eyed Motors. They're sucking up all the bandwidth.
The Rutgers.
That was sort of a commercial for your neighbor, but. Well, let's do what I have as the final story of the day. And let me put this up. This is something that we generally do once a month. And there it is, kids. This is the sales for February. And it was not a bad month.
Do you see how big that chart is? Yeah. You remember when we started and plug-in vehicles was maybe there were 15?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I mean, I love that part about that, you know. So, I mean, the big winners, again, it's a guess, but Inside EVs does a good job of trying to guess. They say the Tesla Model 3, 2,485 of those in February, which is good. Certainly not 5,000 a week, but you know what? If Tesla could sell 2,485 Model 3s, the only people that would be disappointed would be shareholders. Well, and the people waiting in line. The amazing number on there is 2,000 Prius Primes.
Yeah. And getting back to what Paul was talking about, and I was talking about, the Prime is cannibalizing the Prius Liftback, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely fine.
I just find it hard to believe. I looked at this and I had to do a double take because I thought for sure that top line was going to be Tesla Model S. And that's what I expected to see. And I'm like, wait, that's a 3, not bad for a rookie.
Yeah. And the Model S is in 4th place behind the Chevy Bolt. So Bolt and Volt together would just about beat Model 3. But Bolt at 1,400 is great. Volt at only just under 1,000 is, maybe that's a little disappointing. I don't know.
I expected the Volt to be much higher.
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah. Yeah.
I did too. And you know what? I honestly don't know what it was doing last year at this time, but
I'd have to dig around and find that, I guess.
Needless to say, February numbers are higher than January. January, a little over 12,000. This month, 16,489, ahead of last year at this time. Last year in February, 12,375. So up 4,000 units of plug-in electric vehicles year over year. That's huge. That's a wonderful increase. Again, we're still not, this isn't like Ford F-150 territory, but it doesn't have to be. This growth is success in and of itself.
Yes. And in the article, didn't say that it is how many months in a row of year-over-year growth?
Now you're going to ask me questions and I'm going to be like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I read it. And it's one of these things. It's like, I know it's in there because I read it.
Interesting. The BMW number for total is really good as well. Almost 2,000 pieces for BMW, and just on their own. That's pretty amazing.
There was no change on the Porsche Panamera SE Hybrid though.
Yeah. I mean, down on the bottom, what's really, really scary down there? So the Hyundai Ioniq. Remember the Prius killing Hyundai Ioniq?
Yes.
The Hyundai Ioniq plug-in hybrid, 30 units.
Yeah.
30. The Ioniq EV, 56. This was the Prius killing car. I don't know what's going on with that. If that's a supply issue or if that car is just that genuinely unpopular.
I don't know. But, I have to say, when they announced the Ioniq line with the Ioniq Hybrid, the Ioniq plug-in, the Ioniq fuel cell, I honestly thought, like, okay, this is it. This is this is a new paradigm. When manufacturers come out with a car in 3 flavors of alternative fuel options, I was thinking this is going to be the way of the future. Now all manufacturers are going to do this. I am really surprised that the numbers aren't backing that up.
Yeah, the numbers are horrible. I mean, even if you add in the Kia Optima plug-in, 95 units of that. I mean,
yeah, the Niro sold more than that.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see when Kona starts shipping. And for those of you who didn't see the show last week, Kona is Hyundai's new small compact crossover, fully electric vehicle. We don't have any details yet, except it's coming out soon. So it'll be interesting to see. I would really like to know if that's just Hyundai and not shipping that many cars, or if that's just a genuine lack of interest in those offerings.
Yeah,
that's crazy. The Ioniq EV is not a bad car. It's a nice car. I reviewed it. It's up there, and it really should be selling better than that.
Yeah, I'm looking for an opportunity to get behind the wheel and drive one myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we look forward to your review, Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah, I reviewed the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid, and to be perfectly honest, I mean, I only had it for a couple of weeks, but I pretty much fell in love with that car. It was easy to drive. I liked the layout. I thought I thought it looked really good. I thought it was a really good car. So yeah, I have to tell you, when I see some of these, I'm shocked at the numbers. I expected the numbers to be higher.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, unless we buy them and give them away for free, I guess we can't convince people to go out and buy them.
Hey, Paul, welcome back.
Sorry, I had technical difficulties. Had to reboot my computer.
Well, I'm glad you're back. We were just talking about the month sales. You want me to put that chart back up?
Yes.
I will put that chart back up because you may have some commentary. Here we go. There it is, the February sales. Strong in a lot of ways. Look at the Mitsubishi Outlander PHV at 323.
Not too shabby.
No, we were remarking that it's amazingly the Hyundai Ioniq in its two variations, both PHEV and EV, sold less than 200. Sold really almost just a little over 100 units. I can't even imagine why the sales are so low. It's not like it's an awful car.
Yeah.
I mean, the PHEV.
Maybe they don't have supply. Maybe people going into the dealers and they're like, we don't have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you know, and Eric is feverishly typing away in the chat here, and you know, of course, one of them is established nameplate, and I think I even addressed this in my review when I said that I heard it from people when I told them I was driving a Hyundai, they cringed.
Right.
People still remember the piece of crap Hyundais from the 1980s and 90s.
But they are much better.
Way
than
better.
But they are, but
Way.
You have to get in one to find out, and people don't even want to get in one.
It's a generational thing too, Tony.
But I mean, in the mid '70s, people thought Toyotas were pieces of crap.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. The Corolla was like what
the
you got for your kids.
Car.
Yeah. If you didn't like them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Celica was a cheap car back in the day. You know, that's I think it's generational.
They're selling a lot of Panamera
yeah.
Just flying out of the showrooms.
Yeah. I do. What I was going to say before, Tony, is that I do think it's generational. That I think younger people view Hyundai much more positively than we do. We who were around for their launch in the United States and saw all that, we have one history with them. But but a lot of there's a lot. There's millions of people that grew up with Hyundai being a decent car.
Right.
And that's, in a sense, I mean, that's Hyundai's challenge, you know, is to break free of that bad legacy and spread their good name that they've earned.
I remember growing up in Canada, Hyundai had a car that they sold in the Canadian market back in the early 80s called the Hyundai Pony.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a rear-wheel drive, you know, cheap. It was the cheapest new car you could buy, and they sold a bucket of them because, you know, you could go with the dealer and buy a brand new car for $4,000 or something ridiculous. But they all died.
Yeah. I mean, the reason Hyundai had that warranty is because you had to have it, you know, and they still offer a very aggressive warranty, and good for them. Mm-hmm. But, you know, obviously people are more comfortable with a company that just works.
Yeah.
Toyota. I say that out loud. I'm sorry.
You know, and again, now, you know, the chat's picked up and people are saying, you know, you buy a Toyota, you buy a Chevy, you buy a Honda, you know what it is. You buy a Nissan, you know what it is.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and those are known quantities. And I don't want to, you know what? I've driven a lot of nice Hyundais lately. I don't have a problem with it. I just literally today, I gave up the brand new Sonata Limited. Nice car. It is a really nice little car.
Well, the Genesis is a nice car.
Oh, the Genesis is amazing. Yeah, I have 2 very nice reviews. In fact, that's what it was, Tony. Somebody commented in the review that I was getting paid by Genesis. I'm like, I just really like the car. It's a crazy, insane car, both the G80 and the G90, but they are magnificent. I mean,
and it's hard to believe it's from the same company that did the Hyundai Pony.
Right.
Google the Pony.
Yeah, no, I have actually. I have.
No, the last time I tried to Google the Pony, I wasn't invited back to the Pony.
Whoa, we had to take a turn in that.
Oh, there it is. There's
there's the show title, right?
There's the show title. Google the Pony.
Writing it down. Googling the Pony.
I used your I don't know, your bit, Russell.
My bit?
Yes. Now that you talk about the Genesis, when I was at the Chicago Auto Show, somebody had been talking about the Genesis, and I mentioned that it was the same company as Hyundai, and they didn't believe me. And I said, "Oh yeah, and in fact, the Genesis, this." I said it's kind of the same as the Hyundai. It's a $64,000 Hyundai, and they just stared at me and said, "There is no, there is a $64,000 Hyundai.
There's a $70,000 Hyundai.
$70,000. Okay,
That's
so I
the
wasn't
G90
even
ultimate. Yeah,
yeah, I wasn't even high enough."
Right. And it's rear wheel drive and it has a V8. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that you never would think would come off the Korean Peninsula. And it is a blast to drive, and it is huge, and it is comfortable, and it has
So,
everything.
Russell, we all want to know, how well does it drift?
I want to be able to drive Genesis vehicles in the future, so I don't know that I could.
So you're not going to answer that question?
I'm not going to answer that question. I do want to say that I'm a little embarrassed now. It rained when I got the first day I got the G80. It rained, and I want to tell you that thing fishtails like a mofo. I mean, because it's got all the power in the
Real
world,
drive, yeah.
and it's all in the back, baby. Good old, and that trunk is empty back there. Okay, there's a reason why front wheel drive is so cool, because the engine is right over the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You put a big empty trunk, and believe me, you could stack cadavers in either one of those cars. Like there's no tomorrow. Okay, and I mean that in the best way. They're both wonderful cars. Please go to youtube.com/whatdrivesus and check out the reviews. But yeah, no, it was, it does exactly what you would expect it to do, right? It does what every one of our cars did when we were young. I had a 67 Mustang that had big old fat tires in the back, and it was jacked up with air shocks, and the wheels just spun, because there's nothing but air.
And it was good at going straight.
Oh, barely. Yeah.
Yeah. On a dry road.
Yeah. My come to Jesus moment was I had, and forgive me for this rat hole. Before I got the Mustang, I drove the family. We had a 70 Cougar XLR that had the 351 Cleveland in it with the C6 truck tranny. I mean, it was
like headlight covers that.
And the sequential turn signals in the back. Yeah. Oh, actually, they worked the whole time we had it. But they were horrible. But I loved that car, and it went like a bastard. I mean, it just boom. It was fast, but especially compared to my piece of crap Mustang. But my come to Jesus moment was coming home with some friends, farting around on the road, and it's California. The roads aren't straight here, my friends. The roads are curved, and I almost missed a corner on this thing, man, and it just slid, and I just was like, I'm gonna, crap myself, and yeah, that was when I learned to be careful.
So, when you have that moment, I think almost everybody has had that moment where you just start losing control, and you look over and say, "That's the tree I'm about to hit."
Right.
Yes.
In this case, I just about drove into the office of a local nursery.
Oh,
so
nice.
Plant nursery, not nursery school.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 at night. You know what I mean? And at the time, this was an empty road. But it still freaked me out because, and I want to tell you, though, wet roads aside, the Genesis, both of them, corner pretty respectably for as big and heavy of a car as it is. And they are. They corner rather well. Yeah. So I can't say enough good things about the Genesis. I like them both. And they're crazy cars.
Now I'm going to have to see if I can get one and then See if I agree.
It's everything that that we don't talk about on this show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a gas hog. It's a V8. It's rear wheel drive. It's got electric everything in every seat. You know, it's magnificent.
And you get tiny little me sitting in that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, luckily I'm bigger than you, Tony. So
I was scared by the Avalon. I think this thing might. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just G90 Ultimate, man. That's where you want to be.
All right.
Paul, Tony, anything else tonight?
I have one more thing.
Okay. Well, cheers to our friend Mark Coughlin, who's normally our one more thing guy. He's taking the week off because he's got to do some work.
He just arrived back into Canada from Phoenix, as a matter of fact.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yes.
Why did he leave Phoenix in like March and go back to Canada?
I don't know.
I think he has a family.
You know
but
I
mean?
a job, maybe.
I have a standing notification with the Canadian Border Patrol that when Mark Coughlin crosses the border, I get a pop-up on my.
You get a nice.
Yeah.
I need to find out how you get that because I've got a few of those alerts I'd like to have. Let's do some shout outs and go home then, gentlemen. Paul.
Once again, I'll talk about my business, Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado. Our website's boulderhc.com, and we fix, repair, upgrade anything hybrid and anything EV. So look us up if you're in the region.
Do you still Vanagon?
On my personal life, I am into Vanagons, but I won't work on them for other people because they're German and they're finicky.
And they're
I understand.
Did you just get a new one, Paul?
Yes, I reacquired an 87 Vanagon Westphalia camper with a lovely Subaru engine that I had actually installed about 10 years ago and sold it, and they sold it to someone, and then I heard it was on the market, so I bought it back.
Nice. Are you glad? Is it everything good with it?
It's a great car, and this spring it will be listed for rent on Turo.com, so anybody who wants to vacation in Colorado and travel around in a vintage VW Westphalia with a much more modern Subaru engine to get up the mountains, it will be for rent.
Sweet. I see this. Is like a new BoulderHC.com sideline?
No, I think they're a cool way to travel in the mountains and camp, and this whole millennial van life thing. So.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'd actually like to do that. Is it manual or automatic?
It's manual.
So
you have to.
My interest waned.
And let's be clear, if you're heading to Nederland, you need a strong engine because that is like uphill.
Anywhere in Colorado, in the mountains. I mean, there's quite a few people who work in the Denver metro area that have a 3,000 plus elevation gain just to go to and from work.
Wow.
3,000 feet.
Crazy.
Nosebleeds just driving to work.
Yeah. Crazy. Tony, shout outs, my friend.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to Innocent Gun. This is actually a really good beer. The Innocent Gun original oak.
Now, when you say Innocent Gun, it sounds
not Innocent Gun. Innis.
That's what I thought he said.
INNIS. I don't know if you can make that.
Innis and Gun.
Yes, Innis and Gun. Yeah, two N's. Also, a shout out, of course, to everybody in the chat room. Eric and Eric. One with a K, one with a C, David, JT, Jan, and Mark. Actually, that's how I found out. Mark hopped into the chat room and said hey to everybody. I especially want to give a shout out to Philip. I have ignored Philip the last couple of weeks, not intentionally, but if you use Flipboard as a news aggregator, make sure and look for the What Drives Us magazine. I throw stuff out there, and Philip Barclay throws things up there as well. So right now it looks like he and I are the curators of What Drives Us magazine, and a lot of our articles end up there. So find us on Flipboard.
Huge cheers to Philip for that. Thank you, Philip.
Yeah.
That is awesome work. And the man is all over it. I mean, he's like a monster. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally beautiful. I wanted to say, to everybody in the chat room, we have a nice chat room this week. Not that we always have a nice chat room, but there's more people. That's cool. Thank you. So as always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Visit us every place, and where it's always the same name, but I'm going to go through them anyway. It's facebook.com/whatdrivesus. We're on Twitter, oddly enough, at What Drives Us. And of course, the big important one for us right now is youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Please go there. Please subscribe. And please suggest it to your friends. We are trying to up our subscriber numbers, and everyone has been great. The numbers have been growing every week. Thank you for that. But don't stop. Don't give up. Please help support the show and get you and your friends to hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything, and we won't spam you because we don't get your email address.
Right. Yeah. So it's not like we could if we wanted.
Yeah. I mean, we might want to someday, but we won't. We don't. So.
Yeah.
That's all I got, I think.
Yeah.
Paul and Tony, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Always a pleasure.
Paul, thanks for persevering through reboots and computer problems, dude. That's
silly computers.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I appreciate it. And of course, thanks to all of you for watching. Tune in next week and find out.
Cue the music.
Dramatic pause. What drives us? See you, everybody.